Hey, Joe. Good to see you. How you doing?
Nice to see you. I'm doing good. How about you?
Good, good. Thanks. Hey, I'm just asking. I'm just questioning you guys. How's it been this season? Obviously, it's just been such a wacky season all the way around for everybody. How are you guys handling all this and everything?
I think we've been handling it great. Obviously, knock on wood that we haven't had any cases or exposures or guys missing games due to the virus. So I think off the ice, we've all kind of taken the right steps and precautions to keep it out of our dressing room. On the ice, it has been a weird year, but I think we've been playing well. Even going back to the last Iowa game, we were in a chance to win that game. Obviously, just fell a little bit short, but we're doing the right things. We're really kind of gelling as a group as much as we can, kind of being in separate dressing rooms and separate buses. A lot of the times, you don't see half the teammates as much as you would like to or hope to, but we've been playing well, and that's always good.
Wow, that's weird. So you guys are taking like, I know I read a couple of things. You guys are taking of bus trips to the cities or something, right? So you guys are going like in two different buses too, or what? I mean,
Yeah, so we've been going every trip except Iowa. We've been going day of game and then taking two buses, kind of split into different dressing rooms. So we have our main room here on one bus, and then kind of the secondary dressing room on another bus. And I think that's just more of a precaution for
sure.
contact tracing, all that stuff. But like I said, it seems to have been working so far. Like I said, hopefully we can kind of finish out these last however many weeks with no cases and no exposure. So if we can do that, I think it'd be a successful season off the ice.
So with the schedule, it seems like you guys are playing what, three or four same teams. I mean, I'm sure all you guys, first and foremost, you guys are just excited and thrilled to be playing just like everybody else. But does it get a little old sometimes seeing the same teams or what?
Yeah, it does get old. I mean, in a regular season, we're playing our division 6, 8, 10 times
Yeah,
each,
that's true.
but
Yeah.
but we have those Western Conference, Eastern Conference teams sprinkled in, so it kind of changes the pace a little bit. It's definitely nice when we get to go to the Cleveland and the Rockfords. Playing in Chicago is a little tough in their little practice rink there, but
How weird is that?
it's strange. It's not the setup that you would normally see in a normal season. Um, but we found ways around that. Go there tomorrow and hopefully get a win. But it's been an exciting year. You get that rivalry playing the same three teams over and over again. And like you said, we're just happy to be playing. It was a long off season with a lot of unknowns, and it's nice to be back here.
How tough was that? I mean, you weren't even sure if there was going to be a season or anything. I mean, I don't know. Did that wear on your mind a little bit after a while, obviously?
Yeah, there's none of those dates that you kind of knew what was going to happen for sure. There wasn't a drop dead date where it was like seasons canceled or anything. So
Right.
it was hard. Once we heard that the NHL playoffs are going to go into October, at that point you're like, okay, I got maybe 6 weeks after that, then
Yeah.
you gotta be ready. So then you start planning your summer training and skating schedules accordingly. But then the November 20th start date got pushed back to December, which got pushed back to January. And even heading into training camp, we weren't really sure if that was feasible. So it was a lot of juggling, how you want to ramp up your training intensity, how much you want to be on the ice. And then once we kind of got the final go ahead, it was almost like we were just thrown to the fire. It was get here, get quarantined, and let's get playing.
It, forgive me if I'm wrong with this, but no Calder Cup this year or what? I mean, just maybe like divisional playoffs or something like that.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, there'll be no kind of league championship. They're still talking about maybe divisional playoffs. I don't know how
Yeah.
that work, maybe best of threes or best of fives, but even that's kind of up in the air. We don't know. I think when we kind of ratified the American League CBA, we kind of left that in the league's hands. So whether they want to do that or not, we're not sure.
Does that kind of change your mindset a little bit? Kind of like, you're used to going, everybody's used to trying to win a championship. that kind of changes things, obviously, kind of mentally or something a little bit. Just is it more this? Are you kind of taking this more as kind of like just a personal development type of season, basically? Make yourself a better player.
Well, I think there's definitely more time to kind of get in the gym and develop. But at the end of the day, you still want to win hockey games, and
Yeah.
I think that's a thing that might get overlooked a lot too. Is how you win games and prepare the right way. Is a thing that you have to learn, especially at the pro level. And the more games we can win down here, the culture that we can create by being positive and learning what that winning mentality takes, I think that just skyrockets guys' ability to go up to the next level.
Johnny, thanks, Joe.
Perfect.
Next up, Steve Kaminsky from NLive.
Yeah, Joe, just looking at the schedule, it looks like once you get past maybe the first week in April, a lot of games are rescheduled games are starting to fall into place, which it looks like for the first time all year, I mean, you're going to be playing back-to-back games, multiple games during the week. I mean, does having these extra games now, how do you, is that a welcome relief to you guys, or are you concerned that, the more you play, the more chance you're going to get exposed to COVID? What's your thoughts on a busy April?
Well, when we first saw the schedule in April, it looked dead. I think when it first came out, we had like 6 or 7 games, and you're kind of looking like, holy, like we're going to be sitting at home all the time. But we've had some games added, we've had some games rescheduled. It's starting to look like a normal season. I think the league's done a great job on kind of preventing COVID, whether teams have had exposures and rescheduling games. So I don't think that's kind of crossed our minds. It's right now I don't think it's worrisome, but you just want to kind of get through the first week or two where you are playing back-to-backs in 3 and 4s. Last weekend was our first back-to-back, and you could definitely feel it as a player playing on those 2 nights. So just really get your body used to going out and battling 3-4 times a week as we near the end of the season is going to be the biggest thing.
Joe, you look around the league and there's cases popping up and teams have to reschedule. The Griffins, as you mentioned earlier, haven't had any exposures. They have had to postpone anything. What are the Griffins doing that, I don't know, that has maybe different from other teams? Are all teams following the same strategies that you guys are? Does each team have their own, I guess, game plan when it comes to avoiding exposure?
Well, I think most teams are kind of following the league's mandate. We've been really cognizant of masks in the room, on the bus, kind of keeping separated and really limiting our outside exposure time. So I think we've done a good job that way. I can't really speak to what other teams have done necessarily, to contract it, but I think once it gets in a dressing room setting, when you're out on the ice and breathing heavy, I think that's when it starts to spread. And like I said, luckily we haven't had any where guys are maybe you squeak through the cracks here and there. Next thing you know, you're on the ice breathing all over each other in a battle in practice. And I think that's where it spreads. So we've done a great job with it, and hopefully we can continue.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
Good afternoon, Dennis. Hey, just talk a little bit about returning to the Griffins. Yeah, if you could share maybe your mindset at this point. It's been such a challenging year, and plus you've been going up and down. How you doing mentally?
I'm doing well. Just worried about what I can control, I guess, which is how I play. So wherever that is, just go out and play. That's all I'm really worried about.
Does it get frustrating, Dennis, at all with the up and downs and all the ebbs and flows of playing in this league?
No, not really. I mean, this is my 3rd year now, and I've kind of seen it all at this point. I've been up and down, so yeah, it's not really frustrating, and nothing really surprises me.
Gotcha. We were talking a little bit earlier about the fact that it doesn't look like there's going to be a Calder Cup playoff system this year. How does that affect the team as you go through the season and you don't have that big goal at the end of the season to shoot for? Emotionally, mentally, how does that factor into the guys in the locker room?
It's definitely weird. I mean, we've never had a season before where we, don't play for a trophy at the end, but at the end of the day, we all still have to go play hard, and we're all trying to get to the next level. So still have to go out and play your best. But yeah, it definitely is a little bit weird to not have that at the end.
You guys Griffins have been very fortunate. No COVID exposures. You see a lot of teams across the league getting that at this point. What is Grand Rapids doing? I know you've been up and down, like I said earlier, but how's Grand Rapids been able to avoid this, in your opinion? What has been the secret, I guess? Or is it just luck, or is it a combination of precautions? Or
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, everybody has their precautions, and obviously we do too. Trying to wear masks wherever we can, and practice social distancing. But yeah, I don't really know what the reason would be, to be honest. Maybe it's just luck. Maybe we've just done a good job.
Alrighty, thanks, Dennis.
Yeah.
Ted, you got the floor.
See you, Dennis, again in this Zoom world, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. And just following up on some of those, just how weird has it been this season? And just I heard you guys are taking separate buses to games in certain situations. Are there still some guys you're still getting to learn and everything like that? Or are there some guys on the team you still don't even quite know yet as well as you'd like and stuff like that? Because with the social distancing and everything?
I know most of the guys pretty
All
well.
right.
I mean, the two buses is, it is a little bit weird. I mean, we've never done it before. Everything is a little bit weird, but
Sure.
yeah, no, but as far as the guys on the team, I've gotten to know them pretty well.
I don't know. How have you been handling all this as far as, like you said, it's just been such a different year. I mean, have you guys pretty much adapted to it and stuff?
Yeah, as best as we can. It's a weird year. It's a different year. None of us have ever coped with anything like this before. So we're kind of just going with the flow is really all you can do. And just whatever happens, you just go with it.
How do you guys maintain everything, as far as just the scheduling and the practices, keep it fresh and stuff? I mean, because you're playing the same teams, there's gaps in the schedule. How do you keep everything new and fresh and just keep, I don't know, for lack of a better word, kind of like motivated that way and stuff?
Just having fun around each other on the ice in practice. And, if we have a long layoff between games, just trying to have fun and make it as fun as possible, really. And we all know it's a weird schedule, and we all know that we're kind of going through it together. So just try to have fun and enjoy each other's company.
Kind of strange playing the same teams over and over again.
Definitely.
Over and over.
You definitely get used to the players you're playing against. That's for sure.
Have you guys had fun? I mean, I don't know, personally, have you had any like weird fun moments on the ice with any of those guys because you've seen them so much and stuff, or not yet, or what?
Not really yet, but I mean, I don't remember how many times we play teams, but it's a lot, and it's the same thing up in Detroit too. It's just
Yeah,
weird.
it's true too.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
weird playing the same players all the time.
I don't know. As far as the no Calder Cup. I mean, I don't know. Have you ever? Probably have to go back to youth hockey or something. Just no championship at the end. I mean, is that kind of strange? Or
Yeah, the playoffs is what you're
I mean,
trying to make throughout the season. So without playoffs and without the Calder Cup, it definitely is weird.
So as far as that goes, do you try to concentrate just on? Is this like a big development year in that regard? Then just kind of develop as a player here in this season more than anything.
For sure, yeah. I mean, just game by game, just continue to play hard. That's all you can do. And there's not many games, so you have to be ready for each one. And yeah, just go out and keep playing well.
Sounds good. It's Alan. Thanks. Appreciate it, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
See you,
Dennis.
Take care.
That'll do it, Dennis. Thank you.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Ted.
All right. Hey, thanks for this. Thanks for doing this.
Sure.
Just doing a story on how you guys are coping with all of this. I mean, it's got to be the most unique season you've ever been through, I would imagine. So I don't know. How are you dealing with it? And how are you guys coping day to day with all these different type of challenges and everything?
Well, it's definitely different. Every day's, it poses different issues, different problems, different, I shouldn't say problems, different scenarios where, and different responsibilities, because there's certain protocols we have to follow. So, we can only have X amount of guys in a room at a time. So we're spacing guys out. So we're using 2 or 3 locker rooms, depending on the number of
How
guys.
weird is that, man? How weird is that? I mean,
Well, it is strange because you can have potentially you go through a day, and if you're in locker room 1, you're in locker room 2, you see each other on the ice, but you don't see each other. Otherwise, we have to, we're aware of the fact and trying to mitigate our exposures in limiting, if someone were to catch this virus
right.
for close contact tracing, we don't want to be one guy around every guy, because then you're shutting down essentially the entire team. So, locker rooms are kind of connected to the buses. The buses are connected back to the locker room, then your meeting times and your meeting groups. So it's been a little bit more, with the smaller group meetings in open air settings. We've got a great setup at the suite entrance here at Van Andel. We've got a great
Yeah.
garage door that we can open up and
Yeah.
have, socially distanced meetings there. And we've done virtual meetings. We put a lot of stuff online now where the content of our meetings, if it's not understood well by the player, that they've got the ability to go on to our website there and watch it themselves, and they can come back and ask questions the next day.
Actually, Blash said he's liking that part of it. Is there something out of all this that you may keep going forward or something like that?
Well, we've done it for a couple of years now, and we're doing it just a little bit more thoroughly, I guess. Just because sometimes there are things that with the number of meetings and the number of other stuff going on, you don't want to miss anything. But we've done it for years now where we'll post all of our pre-scout meetings, all our team meetings, all our stuff onto a site that guys can go and watch. And obviously technology is great.
Yeah.
Guys can go see their shifts. They can, you can do everything virtually now through Zoom meetings or Teams meetings. It's been fantastic in that regard, but it isn't the same as being able to sit with the player in your room next to him and, just sit here and talk and put your arm around, give him a kick in the butt, or, it's been tough in that regard, but the players have been great though. There haven't been, we haven't heard at least, any complaints. They've been great soldiers, adhering to the protocols, the mask wearing at the rink. It gets old, but they've been great with it. And our mentality going into the season was from whatever day we started there. It would have been
February 4th or 5th.
February
I think I saw
4th,
in
yeah.
one of the stories. Yeah.
Well, our whole thing was from the 4th until the end of the May or middle of May. Our last day was 101 days, and that was our 101 day season. And when you
30
take a
games,
step
right?
back, it was 30 games at the time. We've added 2 since, so 32 games. But it was 30 games, 101 days. It's not a bad sacrifice to make, and we're all doing the same stuff. We're all giving up some different things in order to make this happen, but you have to have an awareness of your decisions at the rink, away from the rink, can have an impact on if this season stays on the rails or not. And if you look around some other teams, I think Utica's had 9 games in a row canceled now. They're going to be going a month without playing, and sometimes it's to no fault of our own. We've had 2 games canceled with Chicago, and that wasn't because of us, but it did have an impact on us. So, we've just stressed to the guys that your decisions, not only at the rink, but away from the rink, are going to have an impact on whether we play or not. And if you're playing, you're some of the lucky few guys that get to play this year. Some teams in the ECHL that aren't playing, their teams in the American League that aren't playing. So any time that we can't practice, we can't play, that's one less time for you guys to get on the ice, to improve, to develop. That's one less game if it's canceled to not be seen or evaluated by our staff, by other team staffs, by NHL scouts. So, it's important that everyone's kind of invested in buying into making sure that we're doing everything we can to keep this thing moving
Yeah.
forward.
Hey, Ben, I mean, obviously player development's huge all the time with you guys and all, but is it even more so this year because of the fewer games and everything? And it seems like, I don't know, I guess you guys had a lot more practice days that first month. It looks like a little bit.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more practice
emphasis.
time.
Is that just more emphasis on that?
I think maybe not more emphasis, but I think it's put in, with the lack of games or the smaller number of games being played, it's put a bigger emphasis on the importance of practice and developing good habits. And, as players, not only doing it and executing those habits and those expectations, but as a coaching staff, making sure that, we're holding them accountable and holding them to a high regard or a high standard there, so that, it is more applicable and more of a natural kind of instinct in a game.
How do you keep, I mean, okay, as far as the schedule again, just the 4 teams, how do you keep it fresh? How do you keep it, I don't know, I don't want to say there's boredom, I guess, when you play the same 4 teams all the time, but it's different.
It's definitely different,
I
but
guess.
Even in a normal season, I mean, we still play Chicago 10 times a year, play Milwaukee 10 times a year, we play Iowa 10. So that hasn't changed all that much. And if you really think of it, it's 30 games amongst 4. So that's just minor league hockey at its finest right there. So, but I mean, that part's not that significantly different, but the biggest change is just the travel to get there.
I got that. That's got to be a little weird. That's a little bit tough too, I would imagine. It changes things around a little bit.
Well, it changed things around, and maybe, now that we're game 14, guys, I think have gotten we've gone to every city now. We've gone to Cleveland, we've gone to Chicago, so guys have a little bit better idea, and we're kind of learning on the fly. What time should we leave? Do we stop? Where do we stop? How do you, as a player, how do you eat? How do you sleep? How do you rest? So it's, that was a little bit of learning by experience and learning on the fly. But again, it's tough. It's been tough on these guys, where a normal, if we're going to play in Cleveland, we would leave the night before. If we're playing Rockford, we'd leave the night before. Chicago the night before. Iowa sometimes 2 days before. Get to the hotel, maybe go out with your roommate or a couple of teammates, have dinner, sleep in the hotel, have a nice pregame meal, and then play the game. And now we get here, we have a quick skate, jump on the bus, drive 4 hours, play a game.
That's huge.
Eat after, and then they're long days. It's been a grind. So the game days are a grind, but again, it's a heck of a lot better than the alternative of not playing.
And one more in terms of all that, Ben, just the no playoffs either, no calls up at the end of the year. And let's face it, all you guys are kind of like, you've kind of been conditioned to, at the end of the season, try to win a championship.
Well, you're a competitor. Then I don't care if you're a coach, if you're a player, you want to be the best in your business. So that part is a little bit tough, but it still doesn't change the fact that you still want to be the best. So, our goal, we want to win the Central Division. If that's what it means, if that's the only thing we can compete for, we want to win the Central Division. We want to, our goals this season were to win the Central Division and to be a team that lost the least amount of games to this virus. And I think that we've played some pretty good hockey at times, and I definitely think that from day one to where we are now, we've improved both as individuals, as a team. And I'm ecstatic with how professional the guys have been with regard to all these protocols, and they should be commended for their efforts and the results. Knock on wood, we're not out of the woods yet in any way, shape, or form, but these guys have done a really good job of buying in to committing, making that commitment to each other, to the team, and to their careers. So I think kudos to them.
Yeah, that is the bottom line, I guess, Ben. Just the fact that you guys are able to play well, that's fantastic. Play right now. I mean, I don't know. Were you concerned that this thing wasn't even going to get going this year, or what? I mean, was there any sort of doubt at all?
Well, there was a lot of uncertainty, and you just never know. I mean, you've seen other teams get pushed back, and the OHL still waiting to play. So, you just kind of have to learn to be adaptable. And from a coach's point of view, like you want to be as prepared as possible, as detailed as possible, but at sometimes it's just, you just got to kind of roll with the punches and be adaptable. And, that's been, I think, the toughest thing from our standpoint is being able to be as prepared. And sometimes you just have to be ready for, you're ready to go right, and all of a sudden they tell you to turn left. You better be ready for both.
The last one, but what area have you been most impressed with or pleased with this season, given everything? I mean, is there some part of the game that it's like, wow, we're playing pretty well in that regard, and maybe you weren't sure that was going to be the case or something?
Yeah, well, I think our offensive play has been much improved. In the last summer, we went into the summer with a project to kind of how can we be more offensive? How can we sustain more ozone play? And how can we get the D more involved? Last year, we didn't have a ton of sustained ozone play. I don't know where we were exactly in goals for, maybe middle of the pack, if that. But where we stand right now, and bear in mind, we lost some key scorers from last year's team with, Chris Terry gone, Matt Pumple gone, Matt Ford gone, Tango gone. Like we're missing some big scorers. So as it stands now, we're leading the league in average shots on net. We're doing a lot of great things offensively, and we're getting a lot of contributions throughout our lineup at different times. So that's encouraging. I think that just generating more sustained ozone time on a consistent basis, I think we've done a heck of a better job at. And with that being said, it hasn't detracted from our shots on goal against our defensive play. I think we're second in the league in shots on goal against, combined with first in the league in shots on goal for. So that combination has been, it's impressive to see that. And again, we're only halfway through, but if you maintain that law of probability, you're shooting the puck more, you're getting more chances, you're probably going to score more goals. So just got to stay with that and make sure that we are maintaining that offense and generating more offense whilst not detracting from other parts of our game.
So I need it. Thanks for this, Ben. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Ted. Mm-hmm.
Steve, take it away.
Good afternoon, Ben. How you doing?
Good.
Good, Ben. Hey, just want to talk a little bit about Dennis. He was in here earlier, and just wondering if you could comment about him. He's been up and down, and how's he doing? And mentally, it's been a challenging year for everyone, and I would imagine going up and down like he has it's got to be tough too. If you could talk a little bit about Dennis.
Well, I think Dennis has matured. It's tough to evaluate a player's maturity. It's easy on the ice to evaluate whether the player's improved and matured. I think he has on the ice for sure, but I think one of the things you guys don't really get to see on a daily basis is just how he's handling himself away from the rink and just being more of a pro. And not that he wasn't before, but I just think that mentally he's in a great spot. He's not letting anything that he can't control bother him. I just think he's growing up a little bit and becoming more of a pro, and I think that's great to see.
How would you evaluate maybe his play on the ice? Obviously, just back, but from what you've seen so far this season, what have you been impressed with? So,
well, I think that from day one when he came this year in Grand Rapids, you can tell he put in time this summer, first of all, and then even from day one to wherever at day 60, say here, he has improved. There's no questioning that. I think he's become more aggressive. I think he's become more assertive with his actions away from the puck. And I think that, if you look at our power play, he's one of the main reasons why our power play is in the top 5 in the league. So he's doing a lot of good things with the puck, and I think he's continuing to improve away from the puck. Now, that's at the American level, and it's just got to be, when he gets the opportunity up to the NHL, to make sure that he's, again, controlling what he can control and playing as assertive as possible and making sure he's making the most of the opportunities given, whether that's, 10 minutes a game or that's 20 minutes a game, and trying to have an impact on the game in a positive manner in the time that he's afforded.
All right. That should do it for me. Ben, thank you.
You're welcome, guys.